I want you to think about this, folks. Is Sir Keir Starmer turning up at your house, you know, with all of his MPs and his private security? Does Sir Keir Starmer turn up at your house with all the other MPs and with his private security and with some of the, with some MI6 operatives? Does Keir Starmer turn up at your house with all those people and threaten you and force you to do things in your life that you don't want to do? Answer that question. Does that happen? Has Keir Starmer ever turned up at your house and forced you at gunpoint to do something that you didn't want to do? What's that? That's right. Silence. Because no, Sir Keir Starmer has never turned up at your house with his own private security and MI6 operatives and forced you to do anything. And this is the final point, folks. When you actually think about this logically, is Sir Keir Starmer stopping you? 2/3 of the population is either overweight or obese. 2/3, 66% of the population is either overweight or obese. Is Sir Keir Starmer turning up at your house and forcing the cake and the cookies and the donuts down your gob? Is that what Sir Keir Starmer's doing? No, that's not what he's doing. You are putting the fucking cookies and the donuts and the cake down your gob. The reason why you're a fat, obese, ugly, misshapen mess is because you self-inflicted this state onto yourself. Keir Starmer didn't do that. The UK government didn't do that. Did Sir Keir Starmer turn up at your house during Christmas? You know, the festive period, folks? 'Tis the season to be jolly. Did Sir Keir Starmer, again, turn up with his private security and his MI6 operatives? And did he force you at gunpoint to get into debt over the festive period? That's right. No, he didn't force you to do that either. He didn't force you to rack up a massive debt on your credit card, did he? Did Sir Keir Starmer turn up at your house and, again, force you to take your credit card, put it into the credit card machine, and, blow all your credit card money and get yourself into debt? Did Sir Keir Starmer force you to go to university and get student loan debt? No, that's right again. No, he didn't. That was a decision that you took. That's correct. Did Sir Keir Starmer turn up at your house? Answer me this, folks. Did Sir Keir Starmer turn up at your house and chain you to your bed so that you can't move and go out into your local community and be of value to your local community? Did Sir Keir Starmer chain you to your bed and put a Neuralink into your mind and control your own thoughts and manipulate your own body? Did Sir Keir Starmer force you to do that? Did Sir Keir Starmer force you to get yourself into a position whereby you have no skills and nothing of value to offer to the world? No, he didn't do that either. Is Sir Keir Starmer turning up at your house and telling you that you're not allowed to go online and make money online as a freelancer? No, he didn't do that either. Is Sir Keir Starmer, his MI6 operatives and his private security turning up at your house and stopping you from maximising your potential in this life? Is Sir Keir Starmer preventing you from going out into your community, talking with other people, talking with other like-minded people who have similar interests to you? Is Sir Keir Starmer stopping you from going out and collaborating with other people? Is Sir Keir Starmer stopping you from getting a fucking plane at the airport, going to a different country and travelling the world and getting a whole bunch of new experiences and meeting new people? No, he's not stopping you from doing that either. Folks, I could keep going. I could just keep going for the rest. I could go for another hour. Another hour of, did Sir Keir Starmer come to your house with his private security and ... I could keep going, folks. Think about it. Of all those just random examples off the top of my head, did Sir Keir Starmer force you to buy a mortgage and get yourself into debt? Force you to buy a car and get yourself into debt? Did Sir Keir Starmer force you to have children that you can't afford? Did he arrive up at your house and, artificially impregnate you? Some chick who's watching this? Did he just stick the sperm into you against your will? Fuck me. When you actually think of this, folks, logically, how is Sir Keir Starmer actually stopping you from doing anything that you want to do in this life? Keir Starmer isn't stopping you from doing what you want to do in this life. Now, I know what you're going to say. But Sir Keir, he's, unchecked migration. Inflation. All right, dipshit. You see, if you're unhappy with inflation, why do you have a mortgage debt? Why do you have a credit card debt? Why did you spend like a retard at Christmas and get yourself into more debt? Why did you have children that you can't afford? Why have you gotten yourself into circumstances whereby inflation is significantly affecting you? Because let me tell you, folks, do you think inflation and the impending energy crisis from the Iran-US-Israel war is affecting me? No, it isn't. The degree to which it is affecting me is fucking minimal. I'm not significantly affected by inflation. I'm not significantly affected by the impending energy crisis. Why am I not I'm a peon. I'm a peasant just like you. I'm not a multi-millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. So how is it that I am unaffected pretty much by inflation, by the energy crisis, by the rising costs? How is it that I'm unaffected, but you are? Do you ever want to ask yourself that question? Because you see, you don't have the get out of jail card with the Bandido, do you? Because you see, I'm not a millionaire. So you can't just say, but you've got loads of money. And you can afford the fancy lawyers and the fancy accountants to hide your money. I'm not a millionaire. Do you see me on Bandido Talks bitching and whining about inflation? About how it's affecting me? About how Keir Starmer should get the chop because of inflation? Do you see me on complaining about, the unchecked immigration? Folks, you see, if I'm really that irritated about the unchecked immigration, you know what I'd do? I'd move somewhere else where there's not unchecked immigration. I'd buy a plane ticket and move somewhere else. You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to sit in my armchair and blame Sir Keir Starmer. I'm not just going to sit in my armchair and blame Sir Keir Starmer for inflation and for all the funny business that goes on with the UK government and the UK banks with regards to money. How is that a productive use of my time? Keir Starmer is not stopping me from going out into the world or going into the online space and literally making the most of whatever genetic potential I have in this life. He's not stopping me from doing that. And if I am so pissed off, if I'm just so aggrieved by what Sir Keir Starmer is doing here in the UK, well, you know what I can do? I can move to a different country. You do realise, folks, that you're allowed to do that. But you see, now we hit upon a snag for the average peon. You know why the average peon doesn't want to do that? Because it takes too much effort. Because the average peon is fucking lazy. They are lazy. It would be too much effort for the average peon to pack up their stuff and to move somewhere else and start a new life elsewhere, which tells me something interesting about the complaints from the average peon. In other words, what does it tell me? They aren't really that bothered. Because you see, if you were really bothered about Sir Keir Starmer and about his government, about the Labour government, about how the UK is going down the toilet, you see, if you were really that bothered, and if this was a priority number one in your life, you would be making enormous efforts to move out of the UK and go somewhere else that's more beneficial for your life circumstances. That's what you would do. But you see, the average peon loves to do nothing more than fucking bitch, whine, and complain. Sit there in their armchair, offload responsibility, blame Sir Keir Starmer, go on to social media, allow the algorithm to manipulate their mind, to manipulate their conclusions, sit there like a big fat obese mess and take no responsibility for their own life. Folks, let me tell you something. Never. Keir Starmer must be in his 50s or 60s. Fair enough? He must be in his 50s or 60s. I'm 31. Never in my 31 years on planet Earth has Keir Starmer stopped me from doing anything I wanted to do. Not once. You know, I don't know about you folks, but Sir Keir Starmer has not arrived at my house with his private security and his MI6 operatives and forced me to do something that I didn't want to do. Has that happened to you? Because sure as fuck hasn't happened to me. It's easy to blame Sir Keir Starmer. Again, I'm going to repeat for the particularly retarded people out there who cannot understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with Sir Keir Starmer. Folks, I don't 100% agree with anybody in this life. So that's a bit of a strange standard to hold someone to. Back to point number one, expectations. Why would I expect myself to 100% agree with anyone, including Sir Keir Starmer? Sir Keir Starmer has his own life to live. He's part of certain clubs that I'm not part of. He swims in circles that I don't swim in. He has his own agenda. He has his own goals and ambitions. He's going to do what he's going to do, just like the grizzly bear is going to do what it's going to do. But what I do know, folks, is that Keir Starmer has never stopped me from going and getting myself in shape. I used to be skinny, a wee skinny mess. Sir Keir Starmer didn't stop me from going and getting into shape. Sir Keir Starmer is not stopping me from making the most of my life. And you see, if I'm that pissed off with Sir Keir Starmer and his Labour government, you know what I can do? There are these things, believe it or not, folks, there are these things called boats and airplanes. And boats and airplanes are very convenient ways that allow us to move from one plot of land on Earth to another plot of land. And you see, if it's really that much of a priority, folks, it won't be a big deal for us to do that because it's number one priority, isn't that right? But you see, the bitchers and the whiners and the complainers, they're just bitching, whining and complaining because they're just looking for a justification as to why their life is truly shit. And they deserve the shit life. I'm glad Sir Keir Starmer doesn't help these people. I'm glad that these people are suffering from whatever policies that Sir Keir Starmer is bringing in. They deserve it. Because number one, folks, you should have your expectations appropriately allocated when it comes to analysing Sir Keir Starmer or any other politician. Number two, you should have an appreciation for what it means to lead any group of people, to become a leader, to take responsibility for any position in life. I've done it with my own dad and I failed. I know what it's like to take responsibility for someone's health. I know what it's like for someone to trust me. The British public are trusting that Sir Keir Starmer is going to do a good job. No matter what you think of Sir Keir Starmer, at least At least he has the experience. At least he has that perspective. At least his worldview is more balanced than yours. Have you even taken an underage sports team? That would be a start. Because folks, I've also taken an underage sports team. Let me tell you, it's not that easy. It's not that easy trying to get 20 kids to sing off the same hymn sheet. To try and get 20 kids running and moving in the same direction. That's not easy. And anyone who has taken a basic leadership role like that, like managing an underage sports team, will have a bit of appreciation for someone who's Prime Minister of a country. It's about having a balanced mindset, folks. It's oh so easy to criticise Sir Keir Starmer. At least he's putting himself in a position of responsibility. It's a heck of a lot more than what I can say for some of you who've never taken a position of responsibility in your life ever. So you don't even have that experience to draw from. At least Sir Keir Starmer has and will have that experience to draw from. You don't. And then thirdly and finally, Sir Keir Starmer, folks, is one man. He's never stopped me from doing anything that I really wanted to do in life. You see, if I want to play the guitar and release my music and play my tennis and do Bandido talks, Sir Keir Starmer hasn't stopped me. So far in my life, he hasn't stopped me. He's never arrived at my house and interfered in my life. Sure, you could say that Sir Keir Starmer is part broadly of the problem of inflation. He's broadly part of the problem of unchecked migration. He's broadly part of the problem of cultural dilution, of fucking over the British people. You could take that perspective if you want. He's broadly part of the system, of the institutions that are driving these actions and outcomes. If you want to take that perspective, fine. But folks, you see, bitching, whining and complaining, that gets you nowhere. And that's why I come on to that point 3. Keir Starmer hasn't stopped me directly doing anything in my life. And he probably never will. I have the most marvellous access to opportunities in 2026. And the social media algorithms would love to convince you that you have no opportunity, that you have no hope. We talked about this recently on a Lessons in Nature episode about Figgy, my fig plant, apparently dying. The social media algorithms, incidentally, I would encourage you to check out that most recent Lessons in Nature. It was a good show about Figgy the fig plant. That will mean absolutely nothing to you if you've not seen that Lessons in Nature. Go on to the main Bandido Talks channel here on YouTube. You'll find it under the playlist Lessons in Nature. It's the most recent episode. But what I was going to say was, the algorithms, the social media algorithms, and the media as a whole would love for you to think that there's no opportunities in life, would love to place you in a hopeless state, would love to place you in a state whereby you're just so unbelievably cynical and pessimistic that you give up on life. The algorithms want you to do that. The algorithms want you to offload responsibility. The algorithms do not want you to self-reflect and to look at taking self-accountability for your own actions. That wouldn't be good, because when you start to take responsibility for your own life, folks, guess what starts to happen? Your life starts to get better, surprise, surprise, because you stop passing the buck. You stop looking for an excuse as to why your life is shit. And see, when you stop looking for excuses, you look inwards and you start looking for the lessons as to why you're feeling. You start to look for the feedback that tells you why you are feeling. Not the reason why Sir Keir Starmer is making you feel, why you are feeling. And you see, whenever you start to get that feedback in, you start to create a virtuous cycle whereby you start to learn lessons from your mistakes. You start to learn lessons from errors in general. You start to extract more and more understanding. You reduce the amount of distortion in your worldview. You start making more accurate decisions. Sir Keir Starmer isn't stopping you from engaging in that self-reflective process, that self-critical, self-analytical process whereby you take full responsibility for your own actions, just like I did for my dad. I took full 100% responsibility for his treatment protocol. And yes, I didn't get the outcome that I was looking. He did die. But do you not think I learned a shit ton across the last 18 months? Think about it, folks. Do you not think I learned so much across the last 18 months when my dad was ill? I can't tell you how much I learned. Phenomenal. A phenomenal amount of information was taken into my brain and digested. And I learned so many valuable lessons about life, about health. Those are going to stand to me. If I were to offload responsibility for my dad's death and blame someone else, I would not have learned those lessons. And I would have been worse off. It's the same for you. Stop blaming Sir Keir Starmer. Stop blaming politicians. Stop blaming governments and institutions. And start taking responsibility for your own life. You see, if you want to blame someone, folks, you know who you should blame? You. Blame you. If you're not in optimal circumstances in life, blame yourself. Take responsibility and start asking yourself the hard questions. Why am I a fat, obese mess? Why do I not have enough money? Why do I not have enough resources? Why can I not bag the chick that I want to bag? Why am I failing in the friendship arena? If you're some chick, why can I not get the man that I want to get? Start asking yourself the hard questions. In order to ask yourself the hard questions, you must first take responsibility. If you don't take responsibility, you will never wander into the terrain of asking the hard questions. And that is my overall defense of Sir Keir Starmer. I don't blame him for the state that my life currently finds itself in. The state that my life currently finds itself in has fucking nothing to do with Sir Keir Starmer. It's to do with me. If I want to change my trajectory in life, I need to do something about it. I don't need to be looking to Sir Keir Starmer. He has his own problems. He has his own agenda. He has his own people that he needs to please. I'm going to be looking inwards and asking myself the hard questions. I'm not going to sit on a fucking armchair and start offloading responsibility to Sir Keir Starmer.